This might be one of the worst game reviews I've read in a long time, and not because the game is bad, but because the reviewer completely misses why it works. Mouse PI for Hire is proof that AAA no longer runs the industry the way it used to. Smaller studios with tighter budgets are becoming real competition for the bloated wallets and hollow games that AAA publishers keep pushing out. But gaming media is doing everything it can to make sure that doesn't stick. So, grabbing their rusty megaphone, IGN didn't review Mouse PI for Hire. They reviewed their own feelings, which makes absolutely no sense and has nothing to do with the game itself, and called it criticism. Instead of breaking down gameplay, mechanics, level design, we get philosophy, moral panic, and surface level takes pretending to be deep. Hey everyone, this is Alex. I'm going to walk through the review first, then give you my actual thoughts on the game. Noir isn't just an aesthetic to be thrown on like an old coat. While Mouse PI for Hire clearly understands the style and tropes of classic noir films and novels, as well as 1930s cartoons more broadly, it doesn't seem to get why those things are there or how they are used to tell compelling stories. Here's the thing, the reviewer never once explains why classic films use specific storytelling techniques. That mystery remains unsolved. Not a single word about why this game supposedly doesn't understand how to tell a story the way old films did. He just states it, that's it, moving on. Of all the Steam libraries in all the PCs in all the world, Mouse PI for Hire walked into mine, and I wish I liked it more than I do. This reads like a preemptive apology. Guys, sorry, but I'm about to nitpick this to death. Probably because no one sent me a free review copy. You cannot open a game review like that. You've already put a label on it before touching a single mechanic. That's not criticism, that's a vibe check dressed up as journalism. Mouse PI for Hire story spirals into a much larger conspiracy that includes an attempt on a mayoral candidate's life and racially motivated mouse-on-mouse violence as bigger mice oppresses the smaller shrews. Yes, political and social themes are literally the backbone of noir. It's the genre, but this sentence isn't explaining how the world building serves the story. It's a ball thrown into the air to see if anyone reacts. They perform a deep analysis without actual going deep. There's nothing here about how any of this helps with immersion or atmosphere. You're just trying to push the agenda based on this review, finding some kind of racial discrimination against virtual characters in the game, same as it ever was even in Mouseburg, and the requisite twists and turns you'd expect from any good detective story make this tale solid enough. But wait, hold on, the guy just told us the developers don't understand noir storytelling, and now the story is solid enough? Which one is it? You can't have both, pick a lane. I'm not going to read this whole paragraph, but in it the reviewer says he was bothered by the sheer volume of references in the game, feeling like they keep pointing to something more interesting than the game itself. He calls the Popeye Hans reference cute, but the Igor joke from Young Frankenstein, not so much. Apparently he takes it as a personal insult to the actor.
So who the hell are you?
I'm Igor.
Igor, not Igor?
No, Igor.
You see, this is exactly the problem. The reviewer wants to come across as smart, but it's completely surface level, no actual depth. That joke is a reference to British actor Marty Feldman, who became a symbol of free-spirited humor, and his influence is felt across British and American comedy, by the way. The references in this game are the point. That's the humor. It doesn't claim to be genius level, but it gives the game its entire charm. That's called personality. And some outlets have forgotten what that looks like. IGN, you're progressive, genuinely, no one's disputing that, but you're moving in a very specific direction, toward a vacuum, a padded room where nothing can hurt you, offend you, shame you, or make you uncomfortable, where humor is banned and creative expression is a liability. We're supposedly talking about art here. Games are art, right? And even in this game, you're on a mission to find something to be offended by. At least the shooting is better. This is the latest in a wave of boomer shooters inspired by old-school FPSs like Doom or Quake, and it's a decent one at that. Shocking revelation, a game inspired by Doom and Quake, the two games that are literally the DNA of every first-person shooter ever made. wait, using the term boomer shooter is apparently the progressive stamp of approval these days, and it does signal something. This game draws inspiration from old games, not just old films. That's actually a compliment, if you mean it as one. The world building may be thin, but Mouse PI for Hire is still dressed to the nines. I don't know how you review games, but apparently with the same level of depth as your desire to appear intellectual, which is to say, not much. Mouse PI for Hire has an incredibly detailed world. The atmosphere of this game sets the tone and the mood perfectly. The cinematic shots, the posters, the in-game newspapers, which it seems were never actually read. This isn't just a hold W and shoot things game. There's stuff to read. It's done with taste, with irony, but I suppose the author prefers something less demanding on the brain, like High Guard or Concord. Even here though I have issues. But wait, you just called it a decent one. Weapons can feel weak, especially the shotgun. It's got the audio kick of a pop gun. And there's a strange disconnect to seeing something that sounds like a kid's toy blow off some poor mouse's head as you paint the white of the world with the black ichor that spews out of his neck. So, you want it to sound like this? This is a 1930s cartoon-style game. Let's actually think about where the line between realism and fiction should be drawn here. You're arguing that the shotgun sound doesn't match the blood splatter and severed head of a cartoon mouse in a 1930s art style. So what should it sound like? Give us the answer. Criticism without a proposed solution is just complaining, which is exactly the case. The entire review of the game is constant whining, and it seems to be the only thing the reviewer can do. The combat is fundamentally good enough to carry you to the end of the roughly 12-hour campaign, but sometimes it feels like being at a show that's never quite bad enough to leave. Like any good boomer shooter, there are plenty of secrets to find, which is true. To be fair to the author, he's right that the investigation thread isn't really in your hands. The conclusions are drawn for you. But that's completely fine, because this game was never about solving puzzles. Why add unnecessary complexity where it doesn't belong? That's actually good game design. The developers know exactly what game they are making, what their strengths are and what their resources allow for. That's called clarity of vision. So up to this point the author admits the game is a solid shooter, quality stuff, but then immediately pivots to criticizing it on moral or philosophical grounds, while also claiming it's a spiritual successor to Doom. But apparently it also needs to be high art. There's no actual level design breakdown, no breakdown of enemy types or their variations, no mention of the different barrel types, ones that don't just explode enemies but freeze them, no mention that when you raid the police station you get a small but real choice about how to start the mission, which entrance you take. This review was written by someone who doesn't understand why this game works, so instead of gameplay we get philosophy. That brings me to one of my major problems with Mouse PI for Hire. Look, I hate to be the guy who brings up Ludonarrative dissonance in a video game review in the year of our Lord 2026. Why not? Is someone holding a gun to your head? Blink 3 times if they are. And if you're rolling your eyes right now, I can't blame you, but it's an actual issue here. Jack Pepper is a PI who kills more people in a single mission than Philip Marlowe has in every book Raymond Chandler ever wrote combined. I don't care how corrupt the cops are. A private detective cannot break into a police station and slaughter them, and then go about his day. But you literally said the shrews were being racially oppressed. How do you manage to contradict yourself this constantly? In one particularly nonsensical scenario, Jack inadvertently burns down an opera house to save a guy running for mayor, and he ends up fighting an opera singer and shoots her. Is she dead? Did I just kill an actress for being angry I burned down her workplace? If I didn't, have I left her alive and unconscious inside a burning building? Mouse PI for Hire doesn't tell me, and doesn't seem to carry either way. What genuinely frustrates me is that IGN never picks at AAA games like this. This moral dilemma tells you nothing about the gameplay, it's just word content padding. Pure filler, that's the review. Feelings dressed up as criticism, philosophy in place of analysis, and a final score attached to none of it. The strangest thing about this review isn't that the reviewer didn't enjoy the game, it's that he played through the whole thing, never once explained how it actually works. Let me fix that. A game like Mouse PI is genuinely rare and honestly a gift. The style, the level design, the gameplay, all of it comes together to make something worth your time. It's riffing on classic noir films, leaning leaning into that aesthetic with a sense of humor. It's not a heavy game, and that lightness in the storytelling is part of the appeal. The world is soaked in 1930s atmosphere. The interiors, colorful cast of characters, in-game newspapers with actual headlines, posters plastered across the walls. And yes, it's clearly inspired by classic FPS design. The gameplay hooks you because the visuals are genuinely satisfying. This game doesn't need to be hyper-realistic in its graphics, physics, or audio. Its job to be stylish, colorful in its own way, and memorable, and it delivers on all three. The levels are varied, with health packs, armor, and ammo spread throughout. There are barrels you can use to blow up enemies or freeze them if the barrel has a snowflake icon on it. You can also just pick them up and throw them, which is great. The level design is smart. Each map functions as its own mini arena, built for combat, and no two feel the same. The levels reward exploration too, not just finding money scattered around, but cracking safes of varying difficulty. And there are collectible mouse figurines you can tickle, which is a direct Doom reference, by the way. And here's the thing. This is a mini review I put together of 3 or 4 hours of playtime. That's what a game review should look like, explaining how it works and why you'd want to play it. Everything else is just noise. The guy at IGN finished the entire game, and this is what he gave you. Thanks for watching until the end, subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed this. If you didn't, thanks anyway. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments.